while the picture's getting clicked and the stage being set, we have a hashtag called 818margon. Do show us, what are you feeling, your thoughts and everything on Twitter, on Insta, on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you feel. Tag IAMAI. At Instagram, it's IAMAI Forum. Everywhere else, it's IAMAI, or in LinkedIn, it's Internet Mobile Association of India. Well, time for our next session. The word which we have used like endlessly so many times, the word called programmatic. The session's called Programmatic Diversification of Digital Budgets via New Age Media. And to moderate the session, we have Mr. Sandeep Balani, Vice President, Geo Ads. I'd like to welcome him on the stage. With him, we have panelists, Mr. Pankaj Sharma, CEO and Director, MGID, Mr. Siddesh Kerkar, Head Prospect and Digital Marketing, Aditya Birla, Sun Life Insurance, and Ms. Tapopriya Datta, Brand and Digital Marketing Lead, CEAT. Can we have a round of applause for our panelists? Please have a seat.
I think we are at the juncture where a lot of digital medium is changing right now. Initially, we saw a lot of consolidation in the digital media due to the duopoly. But over the last 5-7 years, thanks to the growth in digital, and which was brought about a lot of telco offering cheaper data, we have seen growth in number of users and a lot of new age companies coming into India, right? So like Outbrain was launched, my friend MGID, Pankaj was competing with me fiercely. And thanks to my clients like Siddesh, we were able to get some budgets. But we have seen OTTs grow over the last 5-7 years with a lot of new content, cricket content, and a lot of budgets of television shifted to OTTs and digital. Apart from that, in the last 3-4 years, we are seeing consolidating their spends and kind of growing into the digital media. Thanks to the telco data which these telcos have, I think we have been able to grow the ecosystem and trying to utilize our data for the marketeers to target specific budgets. And just to start the session, I would like to take it maybe with Siddesh. What are the new age advertising platforms that, Siddesh, you have tried? Basically, you have definitely been around the performance marketer side, brand marketer, and you have tested many new platforms. So what's your view? How the new age platforms are gaining traction, and how are you seeing the change?
So one thing which is right now, which everybody I think knows, like intent-based platforms. If you specifically ask an agency that I have a X amount of budget and now just get me a plan. At that point of time, two platforms which always come in the plan by default are your Google and Facebook of the world. So intent-based agar bolu to Google, and then non-intent-based, it's mostly social media. But apart from them, I think now, if I talk about things 5 years back, when intent-based platforms used to take majority amount of your budgets, and those were the platforms which used to deliver that particular set of targets or whatever you had. Right now, the thing is changing. If you ask me currently, majority of my budget goes into non-intent-based platforms. That could also be the industry which I am in, insurance as a category where people are not showing their intent towards a particular product or services. And hence it becomes difficult to be in a market which is already competitive. On Google, if I have to get my scale up, I always know that that particular platform will beyond the point bleed. And hence to get more and more people to my website who either have an intent or who don't have an intent to buy my products, these new age platforms are helping me a lot. Recently, we have onboarded platforms like native ads. We have onboarded platforms like affiliates, which most of the time people used to shy away from. But I think these are the platforms which are now delivering things at scale. Even with respect to Facebook, if I have to talk about, Facebook, earlier it would have been roughly around 30-40% of my budget. That is right now getting up to 70-75% of my budgets. Slowly and steadily, we are trying to move away from the intent-based platforms where each and every person is trying to get the maximum share and hence increase my cost of acquisition. But yes, I think post data coming into picture, post, data being easily available. All the other set of platforms have helped me. Uh, Apart from this, I think if to talk about specifically programmatic, uh, I don't know whether programmatic is the right word or not, because 7 years, 8 years, 10 years down the line, the same thing was contextual targeting.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So contextual targeting has just been replaced by programmatic targeting.
It's just
And
automation of the same terms that we are using. So yeah.
so some fancy terms have come in programmatic and all, but I think initially the same things were there. Google was offering you the same set of things in a particular platform where you had total control of things. The only thing was accuracy was not that great at that point of time. With things like telco data or other set of things coming into picture, that has upgraded itself.
Absolutely.
So I think all these set of new age mediums, which is not apart from the intent-based platforms, they are scaling up a lot for me.
Right.
And that's where I was struggling initially.
Right.
आपको efficiency मिल जाती है, but beyond a point of time आपको scale नहीं मिल पाता. But these platforms are giving me that scale which is required, and at the same point of time the reach which I always wanted for my brand.
Got it. Tapopriya?
Yeah, so like a lot of other brands, the default DSP that we all know of. So for our case also, the majority of the brand budget is going to the default DSP that is there. Because again, most of the supply side inventory is available to that. You can connect a DMP and see that, okay, most of the DMPs have this default DSP as their activation channel. So again, like a lot of other brands, it's been like that. However, in terms of diversification that we have done is, we have tried to see platforms where I'm getting very deterministic data. Say, for example, I'm having a campaign which is catering to the two-wheeler audience. I'm supposed to reach out to someone who definitely has a two-wheeler. Or my audience is someone who's a high-end sedan owner. Now, I might not be able to get that level of granularity, but then through surrogate targeting, what is that DSP platform offering? I have leveraged those kind of platforms, which is sitting on repository of transactional data. Apart from that, as a precursor to DSP, so have got into strategic alliances with a few platforms. And what they are doing right now is they are opening up that data and offering that as a DSP. So interested to try out that, okay, going forward, what is the kind of DSP capabilities that we can leverage because they're opening up their platform. So yeah, that's been the case.
Got it. Pankaj, have you seen a growth in number of advertisers since you started MGID? I mean, have you seen the growth in advertisers moving to MGID as a platform? How has the trend been for you over the last 3 years?
So, as Siddesh mentioned that, everyone is trying to cut away from the intent-based platform. Actually, most of the marketers and advertisers have realized that there's a world which is beyond Google and Facebook. Because at a certain point, you will be able to have lot of scale. Initially, you will be able to get good ROI. But in the long term, that started to diminish. So in native advertising, we have seen that a lot of advertisers have tried native advertising in the past. Especially we have categories from insurance, BFSI, mutual funds, real estate campaigns, and auto. That has significantly contributed because, when you talk about native, it is non-intrusive, and you will be able to have a storytelling, and you can create different content. So there is also vernacular content that can be created. So, there's a lot of audiences, those are available, and that can be tapped on. So definitely we have seen a good growth of advertising that has happened on the native as a whole, because, people are moving away. Plus, it gives you a lot of different layer of, targeting. So, you have a device level targeting, you can have a language-based targeting. Plus, because of the technology, we can also target audiences. And that has led to, our growth.
Great. Siddesh, coming to the point of targeting, do you feel, what is it that attracts you to the other platforms? Is it data? Is it contextual? Or what kind of targeting parameters do you, or is it just getting an ROI from a particular platform attracts you to a particular platform?
So one thing which attracts me towards these platforms is I am able to position my brand in the way I want it to the user. If I'm doing campaigns with an intent-based platform, I think I know what the user wants, okay, and accordingly I have to portray myself to that particular user. But if there is a user who's fresh in the market, who doesn't know what exactly he wants, I can actually try and say, this is what I am, this is what the product I have. Okay. Now, if you have a requirement, you can actually come to me. You can go through the entire piece and see whether this suits or not. So my product, as per what I want, I can actually showcase it on these set of platforms. That's something which is very important for me. Recently, if you ask me, so we launched a product called as Fixed Maturity Plan. Now, it's a product which is similar to FD. Now, if I go to an intent-based platform and if I have to target somebody who's searching for a FD, I have to showcase that product as a FD product. And the reason for that is because that user is looking for a FD product. But if at all I'm going to a non-intent-based platform or a platform which is a native or a platform like a YouTube or a OTT, I know what are the features or the specific things that I would want to show to the user. Because on an intent-based platform, one thing which works always for you is relevancy. And that's how you try to be relevant and try to scale up your campaign or get efficiencies. The day you go out of that particular platform, that's the time you're able to showcase on things that you want, and you are able to get the audiences that you want. And that's where you're creating that particular sector for you. Otherwise, you have to be in a sector which is already created by somebody, and you just have to be part of that particular cohort.
Got it.
So I think that is something which is always like enticed me to go to these platforms.
Absolutely. Tapopriya, you mentioned about deterministic data, and you did mention to me previously that you use DMPs, right? So what, according to you, is the right targeting to determine a particular platform that you're currently introducing? So how do you start with that?
So, for example, I try to find out that, okay, what is it that the DMP is offering, right, at that point in time? Because what happens is, if I am doing only through DV, there's the entire broad spectrum of in-market audience, which becomes a little too broad. And then there is this custom intent keywords, custom affinity list that is there, which becomes a little too narrow. So, you have to straddle between these two spectrums that are there. So, kind of to strike a middle ground, that's when I see that, okay, what is the capability of the DMP that is there, what is it offering me, and then see that, okay, this DMP, what's the kind of activation channel that it has, and then try to do it through there. So, for example, when we are doing it for OTT platforms also, and suppose it's a PG deal that's there. So rather than going for an open auction completely, I would try to see that, okay, I want to leverage a certain OTT audience, and whether I'm able to go granular or have better targeting capabilities by activating it through a DMP audience. So that's the kind of lookout that is always there.
Great. Pankaj, anything you want to add here? Because next question is only for you.
In fact, what is being said by Siddesh is right. Though, somewhere how we look at digital, I have actually come from the offline. I have worked in print. I have worked in radio and television. There was never a scene that, if you're advertising, no one will ask you how many leads or how many, sales that are happening. Because there is a concept of awareness. And actually, when you talk about digital is all about awareness and having the right audiences which funnel awareness, desire, interest, and end of the day, a sale happens is. And since digital, we can track everything. Most of the people are running, after the sales. The end of the day, I want a sale. But, in the new age media or the new generation, we don't read newspapers. They don't read magazines. They directly come to internet. So, there has to be an overall journey of an user for, from, having an awareness, desire, and then finally, convergence. Basically.
Siddesh only measured us on convergence, Pankaj. So,
in fact, just to add to this, as I mentioned, when the intent is there, we try to show the user that particular thing. And in fact, similar thing happened when I was in Group M. So we were on a pitch where we were trying to pitch Facebook as a client. And we all know Facebook is a social media platform. But when we actually went into diving deep into that particular platform, we understood Facebook is not just a social media platform. There are multiple apps together which forms Facebook. On Facebook, you can sell your car. On Facebook, you can ideally go and buy an event ticket. You can do different other things. Now, if at all, I would have been only on a platform where the user is searching for a social media platform, showing him my app and trying to convert him. I got a chance to go to different set of platforms, different set of places where creatively we are able to pitch that particular platform in a way that it suits your need. I think the messaging is something which is very important, and that's how your end conversion then becomes, I would say, it's a quality conversion that you get. Because आज अगर मैं social media बोल के बेच रहा हूँ वो app को, लोग आएंगे social media, they will try to get into things. But beyond a point of time, the active user count will go down. And that's what the challenge was with Facebook, which they came to us and said, ki, we want to increase the monthly active users, and we want more and more users to re-engage with us. If at all you want a user to engage with you, that user first needs to understand the capability of your particular platform. And that's what we brought out, saying that these are the capabilities of the platform. This is what you'll get from the platform. It's not just about buying a car or selling a car or buying a house, selling a house, or understanding what your friends are doing. It's about everything. You can sell your own set of products. You can actually have your own store there set up. You can go and go out over the weekend, try to go for an event, try to book a hotel. So multiple set of things. And I think that is, once you're able to do that, you're able to show that thing to the user, he'll stay with you for a longer time.
Sure. So Pankaj, I mean, definitely, I mean, I've been in Outbrain, you lead MGID right now. I mean, apart from gaining publishers, which, help us gain market share in the market, and, that is the toughest job, right? How do you think we can gain more advertisers, and what is your strategy right now to gain more market share in terms of growing your advertiser base, getting more and more advertisers into the ecosystem of native? What do you think is the right strategy?
First of all, we say that, the next fight is going to happen on data. Data is the new oil. And everyone focus on data so much, and they learn whole thing about cookies. But, cookies are also stating their own demise, which might happen very soon. So, you have Apple and Firefox has already, started not supporting any of those cookies in last 3 years. And Google will also be, ending it by 2024. So, there is a lot of scope for all of us to look at the alternative channels. And somewhere when we talk about, say, non-cookieless inventory has a huge potential, not only for programmatic advertisers, but as well as for the publishers. So, we at MGID, we created a tool, our own algorithm, which is on contextual intelligence. Actually, contextual advertising is there from the start itself. Now it is gaining more prominence because, it started with Google and Facebook, what he said, and then, a lot of layering was added. So, when you are on a publisher, you have the first party data. And when you are actually your AI that reads the content and differentiate the content into positive and negative and gives an opportunity for an advertiser to actually show an relevant ad, which is like more of an intent base. And that is the one of the way which will be the way forward for us and for the industry. Also, all the CCPA compliance and GDPR compliance, India is also having their own data protection bill, which is on the way. So somewhere data is becoming more priority. So, contextual intelligence and contextual advertising will be the way forward, and most of the companies will be actually falling into that line. And apart from gaining more advertisers, end of the day, if advertiser or publisher, there has to be win-win situation, because we all are surrounded with lot of noise. Now, recently there was news that digital OH will also be, you will be able to buy through programmatic. So the moment I start driving my car, or from the moment I get up, I am exposed to 1,000+ ads in a day. But the question is, how many do I remember? So somewhere which is relevant and which is in the need, that is going to be make a difference. So, this gives an opportunity for publishers to monetize their inventory, and for advertisers to show relevant ad. And for consumer, it is to having relevant information wherein I don't want to struggle. I live in a world wherein I just type on Google the nearest restaurants near me, and I will be given a lot of information. I don't have to, struggle. I don't want to struggle, because I want everything ease of use, we say, in today's world. And if you provide that, it will be like win-win for all the parties, and that's a way forward.
Great. Tapopriya, I mean, as a marketer, have you made a strategy particular to a platform? Because, what happens is that, I mean, we talk about goals, we talk about ROI, but there are certain platforms which, give a particular USP, right? There's a sports OTT, there are different things which are coming in the gambit, right? Have you made a strategy particular to a specific platform? And how is the overall?
So whenever there is diversification, one of the reasons why I would diversify, so let's address that, okay, DSP is about who and where, right? where will be, for example, I'm going after a certain OTT platform, and that's only available as an open auction sort of a model in the default DSP that's there. In terms of who, that's where the transactional signals come, right? That, okay, what kind of targeting capability that, that the DSP is offering, and how granular am I able to target. So whenever there's a transactional signal that I'm getting, my creative strategy is tweaked basis that, okay, when I'm targeting very broadly, then of course the creative strategy is different. It's kept at a broader level. But when I know that, okay, say for example, higher end sedans, like I said, it's through surrogate targeting that I'm able to target that audience. My creative strategy is different. It's a two-wheeler audience that I'm going after for a two-wheeler campaign of mine. The creative strategy is different. So depending on the transactional user signals that I'm getting from a certain DSP that I'm diversifying, my creative strategy is tweaked according to that.
Got it. Siddesh?
It's all about storytelling. Okay. So, yes, of course, basis the platform, the strategy changes. If you are able to tell your story properly to the audience which is listening, I think that will always give you a better impact. So yes, we change our strategies basis the platforms that we have, and it's also about the audience on that platform. So it could also be a case that I'm targeting one single platform which has multiple set of audiences. Just to give you an example, if it's a news-based platform, okay, or it could be, let's say, NDTV for that matter. NDTV has different set of sections in their website. So my strategy would change differently for somebody who's reading NDTV Profit versus somebody who's actually interested in business news kind of a thing, or for that matter, other set of things which are there.
Pankaj, you mentioned about regional creatives. I mean, any particular reason you mention that, and do you recommend that strategy to a lot of advertisers?
See, as he mentioned that, platform level, it's start with an user. So, for all of us, it is important to understand the user behavior or, consumer. So, I'm a father. When I'm on Facebook, I'm a different individual. When I'm in office, I'm different. My persona is different. And when you are able to target ads which are relating to the, personas or, what I'm looking out for, the conversion will be high. So especially why we say the regional, because most of the people prefer to read content, in the regional languages. Possibly there is some Hindi reader, he will like to see a landing page, content which is in Hindi, so that he can actually, relate to that content well, because it is in his comfort zone. And that's the reason, if you see in the last 5 years of time, most of the regional publishers, especially in the Hindi, Malayalam, Telugu, Tamil, these kind of publishers has suddenly, skyrocketed. The numbers has been growing constantly. Because in English, there are so many options. अरे मेरे पास Economic Times है, Times of India, NDTV है, Network 18 है, so where should I go? And somewhere, as I said, it's more of ease of use. I don't go to Economic Times specifically or Times of India. What I do is, I say that, what is the latest news? New Himachal CM. The first results which I get in, whether it Hindi, English or Marathi or whichever content, if I like that content, I will be consuming that. And that's where, the industry is moving towards. So it's very important that customization should be available. And as he mentioned that, storytelling, it's at heart of the overall marketing campaigns. And it can be positive stories, like somewhere you can have a positive aspect, or maybe insurance ad is being sold as a negative story. You tell a negative story of what can happen, and then you force someone to buy a product. So that is how the things, and on the platform level also, the communications and the marketing, even the landing pages also changes for most of the advertisers and marketers. And, possibly there has to be a separate teams who can handle the queries of regional. So maybe English and Hindi is the preferred one, but, people will also like to focus on Punjabi and some other aspects, especially people who are from television can relate to this far more.
In fact, the same thing, when we plan a campaign, and if we know that traffic is going to be generated, I first go and sit with my sales team to understand whether they have the capability to speak to a person who's going to give us his details, and he's from a particular region. So if he's going to come from South India, and if we have, do we have enough people who can speak Kannada or Telugu or any of those languages, versus if we think that there is a maximum audience which is sitting in the call center, they can understand Hindi, Marathi, and Gujarati or these languages. Let's try to do a pilot with those set of platforms first. And then if we see that there's enough traction coming in, then we can go towards the other set of audiences. And people actually have different behaviors. And this is something which I've seen in CoverFox as well. Because a person who comes from northern part of India, we have seen that he's not concerned about the things which are, what kind of coverage he's going to get in the policy for a car insurance. He's like, मुझे आप सिर्फ एक काम करो, ये बताओ कि सबसे सस्ता पॉलिसी कौन सा है. I just need that policy to keep with me as a paper to show to the cop when he stops my car. Versus somebody coming from a Bangalore region, he is very concerned कि मुझे कोई भी दिक्कत नहीं होनी चाहिए when the claim is going to be there. I need the best of the policies. Premium is least of my concern, and that's where your entire strategy changes.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, this is pretty much the end of the session. Do you have some time for Q&A?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
we can take up. Yeah.
I would like to sum it up and say that, you know, when we are talking about new age media, what to expect? Somewhere, as we say, advertising, there are different funnels, and you know, awareness funnel, desire funnels, and it's more to do with the audiences. So the new age audiences which is coming, possibly the guys who are, you know, in the colleges, their content consumption patterns are very different. So there is a lot of data, there is a different level of targeting. You know, possibly my parents, they emphasize largely on saving. अरे सेव करो, कल को तुम गाड़ी खरीदो, घर खरीदो. आज के बच्चों को फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. मेरे को कॉलेज में आया हूँ, मेरे को एंजॉय करना है, मेरे को पार्टी करना है. You know, I don't care. I don't want to get into that whole hustle of buying a house. Possibly I will stay on rent. So somewhere when we talk about programmatic, we have all the signs or interests or personas of individual. And new age media helps you to actually reach out to those audiences. Possibly they can be the next, you know, home buyers or, you know, car buyers. So, you know, catching them young is the concept that is available, and somewhere you need to have diverse strategies in place, which is, you know, having the retention of the existing customers, acquire new customers, and some of the customers which you might not be able to get benefited now, but maybe 6 months down the line or 1 year, 2 year. That is the overall strategy, and for user specific, you need to have different strategies and campaigns that needs to be run in, possibly for short term, mid term, and long term. That's what I will say.
Got it. Any questions? Okay. Cool.
There are only two things. जब सवाल नहीं होते हैं, सब कुछ समझ में आ गया या कुछ समझ में नहीं आया.
Thank you so much, Sandeep.